Hi guys, Steve Kaposi at the Adventuring and Camping School in Northeast Thailand. I just want to quickly show you an option here for a raised sleeping platform and a small shelter. So essentially what we've got here is this. And the main components of this shelter system, we've got 4 stakes as uprights, 2 longer poles, these 2 poles at the ends to support a ridge pole. If you don't expect rain, they can come off, you don't need it. These end poles here serve 2 functions. Support the ridge pole and to support your planks, your poles for the bed like that at the end. I'll keep the bed off for a second so I can talk about this system. Now the poles are basically perfect 2-inch diameter, 3-inch max. These are about 2-inch to 2.5 inch. 3-inch max because when you carve your stakes, even a 3-inch pole is becoming a lot of work to carve down a stake. And that's just a piece of bamboo to make it easy. That could have been a pole as well. Bamboo is nice and easy. Measure the distance between the uprights. You stand, put one stake in, stand there, put another stake, and it's wide enough for your body, no worries at all. I'm just going to crawl into here. And there it is. Let's crawl out. You can lash down these poles, even these ones here, or this one, to make it more sturdier. They're just sitting in the V notches. This gap here might be a bit small for your head. I think it's okay. You can see how the 5-foot pole at a 4-foot height gave a bit more room. I can put my head here and put my feet here. Now, I really can't dictate all these heights. It's all going to depend how high your bed is, how high that is, but they're rough heights. These stakes, at least 2 feet high, maximum 3 feet surely. In very wet ground, you may have to go a lot deeper. You can make these stakes higher if you need to go deeper. Then in very wet, sodden ground, maybe you can't use stakes at all. You can use tripods. 12 2-foot poles for 4 tripods, that's a future video. But if you can do stakes, and very hard ground as well, tripods for hard ground, where you can't hammer stakes in. And then all your heights, I mean, your bed's got to be at least 1 foot off the ground. 2 feet's better. Let's have a look at this. 2.5 feet. There were 3-foot stakes hammered down 2.5 feet, so 6 inches in the ground. And your heights are going to vary and so forth. And don't forget your ridge pole for your roof. You want it to be low. A sleeping area, and in particular an emergency shelter system, needs to be very small and low. You just need enough room to crawl into. The lower, the smaller, the better. You're going to keep out the wind, you're going to keep out the rain. It doesn't have to be extravagant, very high and so forth. But you can see this gap here, as I said, this was just about a bit over 3 feet. In fact, almost 3.5 feet. 4 feet to 3.5 feet. Again, just 6 inches into the ground. And this one here was 5 feet down to about 4.5 feet. This is clay soil, very dry, and that forms a very firm foundation. It's hard to get the stake in though. What I'm going to do is show you the stake up close. Let's take out a pole. And there it is. This thing, 2-inch. As I said, 3-inch maximum. There it is. You want to practice your woodcraft, all you need is an axe and a machete for this job. Your small axe, hatchet and a machete. And you need to just carve down a stake. It's got to be nice and sharp, not at a chisel angle. It's got to be nice and rounded, so when you pound it in, it's going to go straight into the hole and not move around. And you want the angle to come back quite a way. It's like 6 inches to come back slowly. If you make it too steep at the end, it just won't pound in. So it's got to be a shallow, steep angle going in all the way. You can practice your stake carving with an axe or a machete. That's all you need. And they're tools that I advocate you always carry with you. You don't always need a machete and an axe, but in any sort of major camping trip, that's what you need. And that's all I used. The V notch was just a standard 45-degree cuts down there. A 2-3-inch pole will sit there nicely. You can do more work. You can carve it out. You can carve out a nice U shape, make it wider and a nice U shape, and your pole's going to sit there even better. But just a very quick first 45-degree angle notch, and you don't have to connect these poles down. You can if you want, you can tie it down, but you can see how I crawled up nice and carefully. You can also dismantle this and take it with you if you want, or move it somewhere else. Your ridge pole, at least 7 feet long, to get across your 2 end pieces. If you've got overhang, doesn't matter. You don't have to trim it. Overhang's fine. Overhang at the end here is fine. Your 2 stakes, you can bring in a bit to get better support. You know, 1 foot, 1.5 feet in from both ends. Plenty of support there. You can have overhang, that's fine. Alright guys, so I put my roof on. It's just a basic tarp tied out with 4 stakes. And there it is. You basically just climb in nice and carefully like I did before. Easy. If you don't expect rain, you don't put a roof on. I've got my friend here watching, he thinks it's really good. Perfect, eh? Perfect. If you found a tree with a fork or a Y you can support a stake on to do 1 less stake, that's fine. But this is assuming no trees or nothing to support these beams on. It's just 4 stakes, maybe just a few more points. There's no reason why you couldn't have a bigger tarp. Fly this even higher to make like an awning. You can have a fire out here. If the tarp's big enough, you can have the fire under a tarp, just a small fire. If it rains, you've got so many options, it isn't funny. And the other thing to note here was these bits of wood were just bits of wood I found lying around. Planks, there's some lumber, there's nails sticking out and so forth. But you're pretty much going to be using poles and branches and so forth. 1 inch, 2 inch diameter, and even 1 inch is fine. And of course, this was a good half day's work. What you need to do, if you're going to build any form of a natural shelter out of natural materials, you've got to leave yourself a whole day. This is real life. It's not a fake TV show where it's 2 minutes to build a shelter. Something like this is going to take potentially the whole day. Let's talk about raised sleeping platforms for a minute. You may not need one. In tropical countries, jungles and wet areas and so forth, you may want a raised sleeping platform to get off the ground. Especially I'm in Thailand, for example. If I was to sleep out there, I prefer to sleep up there than on the ground. You can build like a debris shelter and be on the ground. You've got creepy crawlies, insects, potential snakes and so forth. Some regions of the earth in temperate climates or the North American woods, it might be more okay to be on the ground. It might be a better psychological factor as well. I mean, you're not going to stop snakes really from coming up. It's really a psychological impact to just be off the ground and sleeping like you're sleeping on a bed. So there it is, Steve Kaposi here. I hope you found it interesting. I'll see you next time.